Next up, Karl Jirgens. He edited the international magazine Rampike, which I actually have seen before and read from, and it's a fine mag. And his newest book, The Razor's Edge, was just released by the Porcupines Press, and he's delighted to read in his hometown of Toronto.
Okay, so before I start, I want to thank the organizers of this 100,000 Poets for Change event, including Marty Smith and Louise Bak. Without artists who serve as spark plugs within our community, these events wouldn't happen. So thanks to them, thanks to you, the audience. I appreciate you being here to listen, and thanks for the organizers and our MC of the show, and yourselves for being here, and Cine Cycle for hosting this event. Let's have a big hand. I'll begin by saying, scintillating semantique is the thing that does the trick. Grandiloquent fecundity fills the ear most pleasantly, but we all best accentuate when clearly we enunciate. Lecture, preach, pray, and teach. Fill the room up with your speech. Jibba jabba like a monkey. Talk the hind leg off a donkey. We've all heard some great orations, speakers' clever declarations, recitations, exhortations, wisely worded perorations. Only one thing you got to know, whether you come or whether you go. Language is as language does. There ain't no need to make a fuss, provided your vernacular is acoustically spectacular. Thank you. I'm about to do a workshop on sound poetry for the Art Council in Windsor, which is where I'm currently residing. I'm an old Toronto person, but they've asked me to do this thing. And it's since it's a multimedia event, I'll do a short sound poem for you. And I've got a new book out, as our intrepid MC pointed out. It's called The Razor's Edge. Here's a cover, and I'm selling it extra cheap today. If you want a copy, just talk to me. I'm also giving away free Rampikes. Yay! There's a whole shelf of them over there. I stopped publishing it. It's a really good mag. It's gone the authors of my mag have won every major literary prize in the world, including the Booker and on down. You know, so like grab it. It's free. Take it. Take it. I got more copies in the bag. I don't want to take them home. It'll make my travels lighter. Okay. And I'd like to say that this next piece is from The Razor's Edge, and the opening credits to that book, which are appropriate to 100,000 Poets for Change, asks, when are we going to learn the difference between turning on people and turning people on? And so my book responds to Somerset Maugham's novel of the same title, and like Maugham's protagonist, the narrator in this suite of short stories is traumatized by the state of the world and is on a quest for greater meaning. So I'll read a little bit from that, from The Razor's Edge, and it's from a story called The Freshness of a Dream. It's only about 3 minutes. Okay, given the conditions in Ukraine, I think this plot resonates well. My mother and I are sitting at her kitchen table. She sits with her back to a glass storm door. I gaze at the tangled garden behind her. My mother is quietly crocheting a hat for my son. She peers through her glasses. Her old fingers nimbly turn the wool strands on light metal crochet hooks. It's time for another tea, but I'm held in place by a strange inertia. To break the inertia, I ask her what happened to her brother during the war, my Uncle Joe. She fed me small pieces of that story before, but I hunger for more. If you haven't already figured out, I'm a fiction writer. My uncle had been fighting for the partisans, first against the Nazis, then the Soviets. My mother informed me that he was tossed into a mass grave, only to be retrieved. The entire nation had been forcibly occupied. The bulldozer driver, a patriot, was ordered by a Soviet commander to cover up dozens of bodies. The bulldozer driver refused. He'd witnessed several fingers moving on my uncle's left hand. They threatened to kill the dozer driver, but he rejected their threat. I'm the only bulldozer driver around for hundreds of kilometers. If you kill me, you'll have mass contagion. The commander shrugged, relented, but remained pissed off. He ordered a pair of soldiers to haul out my uncle's body from the trench. The dozer driver ensured they hospitalized him. My mother told me that my uncle was among several partisans sitting in the back of a resistance truck, the kind with a canvas tarpaulin covering the back. The truck driver inadvertently trundled up to an unexpected military checkpoint. Realizing the danger, the driver stomped on the gas, swerved past the checkpoint barrier, but one of the ground troops managed to lob a grenade. My uncle was near the front of the truck bed, knocked unconscious. He was bloodied, blinded, crippled on his right side. The bodies of the other partisans shielded him. I wanted to know more. My mother kept crocheting. Tell me more about what happened to Uncle Joe. I'll stop here. If you want to know more, you gotta check out the book. This next piece is about my father, who was dying of Parkinson's disease in a nursing home in Windsor. This is a short excerpt from a longer piece titled Father's Day. This bit will be in my next book. It was published in a US journal called The Typescript, and it was selected for inclusion in the Best Canadian Poetry Anthology to be published by Biblioasis Press. So this here is a prose poem. It's Father's Day again. In my dreams, I see my father standing there surveying theodolite atop a tripod up in Sudbury, far from Riga. He ran for his life. And now he's in this place, in bed, aged 90, with Parkinson's. He stutters, words break in his mouth. He can barely walk. When he does, he staggers, falls into a wheelchair. He thinks he's 99. He's not. He thinks he's going to work today. He's not. He thinks he's late for work. He isn't. He thinks he's in Riga. He's not. His eyeglasses no longer serve. He can't focus. He insists that his toothbrush be exactly 5.88 millimeters, no more, no less. He's lying in bed, in diapers, trousers round his ankles, unable to stand, not good at moving. He tells me he dreamt that he walked around the room, walked outside, smelled pine fresh air on the family farm. He hasn't been on that farm since 1942. He has no idea what year it is. I tell him to read my calendar book. The date is clearly posted. He can't focus. He thinks it's 1945. It's not. He thinks he's 99 years old. He's 90. He thinks the clock is wrong. It's not. He thinks he has to go to work. He doesn't. He thinks his wife works every day. She doesn't. He thinks people are stealing stuff from the bathroom. His bathroom. They're not. He thinks he's signed numerous legal documents. He hasn't. He thinks I've written my address on the wall. I have not. I explain all of this to him. He only half listens. It takes time. I think I'm going to get a parking ticket. I don't. Okay, here's an excerpt from my chapbook, Eco Blues. A Tale in Three Parts. I've got a few copies here. If you want to steal one from me, just say so. It was published by Above Ground Press in Ottawa. It's about a protagonist who goes for a job interview at the University of Toronto, but on the way their car gets stuck behind a garbage truck, and then something magical happens. The piece was originally titled Putting on the Ritz, but I changed the title to What the Garbage Buddha Said. And it's under 5 minutes long. Here's the excerpt. At the edge of the city is a massive garbage dump, a landfill, a wasteland, and in the midst of it there is a mountain basking in sunlight, Buddha-like. The garbage Buddha contemplates all the garbage that is and all that one day will be garbage. Listen to the garbage Buddha's chant. Om Amo Ga Siddhi Ahom. All that is garbage. All that will be garbage. The things that are not yet garbage will one day become garbage. No one is an island. We are peninsulas connected to our garbage. I am the garbage that is now. I am the ungarbage that will one day become garbage. Garbage and ungarbage are one. Om Amo Ga Siddhi Ahum. That's a famous chant, by the way, if you don't know. And as you might have guessed, this is an eco-tale. It's about eco-poetics. This morning, I awoke, dressed, fed the dog, drove my car to a job interview. My car, a gray, unassuming 2003 Mercury, has low mileage. I seldom drive. It's not a sedan you'd notice. It's a generic car. But it's the car I'm driving to my job interview. I'm driving with a swift, composed economy of motion along Bloor Street in Toronto. I'm heading downtown for an appointment at the university interview. They seek a specialist in literary theory. If I keep up the pace, I'll make it on time. I could have taken the subway, but I wanted to keep cool in the car. The air conditioning still works somewhat, although it seems weak lately. Some of the air conditioner's tetrafluoroethane molecules must have found their way into the ozone layer and helped widen the hole in the sky that permits cosmic rays to pour on my head. I tell myself that inside the car it's still cooler than outside. Toronto summers are torrid and muggy. I'm making good time, but there's a slowdown. I swerve around several vehicles to get to the problem, but I'm unable to pass. A garbage truck is pausing in front of every building. The truck is too wide and its pace too slow to scoot past while avoiding oncoming traffic. I give it the horn, but the truck ignores me and continues in oblivious elephantine fashion, lumbering up the street, pausing, stopping, moving. CBC radio predicts rain. I think I've made a wise choice taking the car. I tell myself this is typical city traffic, but I'm getting anxious about the interview. In the rearview mirror, I see cars lining up, and in front of me, the garbage truck, like some other worldly beast, leisurely grazing on the savannah. I catch myself losing balance. I'm about to lean on the horn and keep leaning until the truck allows me to pass. I take a deep breath, regain equilibrium. I tell myself I shouldn't be driving in the first place. I could have taken the subway, but I wanted to look fresh for the job interview. It might rain. I didn't want to show up rain-soaked. It was my choice, but I never anticipated this truck, this garbage. Garbage, it's a daily thing, a general condition of entropy, an entropic universe, a breakdown of stuff. I think about recycling. I think about David Suzuki. I think about what David Suzuki once said. David Suzuki once said, "We're heading for an ecological disaster of unparalleled proportions. Metaphorically speaking," he said, "it's as if we're in an automobile hurtling towards a concrete bridge abutment at over 100 miles an hour, and all we do is argue about where we get to sit in the car." Or words to that effect. But I'm not hurtling, I'm inching in an O3 Mercury behind a dawdling garbage truck. It's okay to laugh. This stuff's pretty funny, I think. I turn up the air conditioner, it doesn't respond. I suspect that over the years the seals of the air conditioning unit have collapsed, and one by one molecules of tetrafluoroethane have escaped, are escaping even now, leaving a few remaining hard-working molecules in the machine, and those molecules are feeling lonely, abandoned. And soon there will be too few molecules to keep me cool. I imagine the last molecule of tetrafluoroethane liberating itself from the air conditioning unit, rising free into the hot city smog, dancing happily with other gas molecules, monoxides, dioxides, all together in a molecular fandango, rising toward the stratosphere, finally free from all this. There will come a day when all but one molecule will have escaped, leaving the air conditioning to a single molecule all alone in the stifling dark. I remember some parties ending that way. So I'll jump ahead. Then the protagonist notices something strange about the garbage collector. I'm watching the garbage collector as I inch behind the truck. Maybe Japanese. One of my best friends in college was Japanese. I think of ontolinguistics and clones as something I can talk about at the job interview. The collector looks like my best friend. I don't think this garbage collector is my former pal, though. My friend is now an industrial psychologist working in Ottawa. As far as I know, they're not working on a garbage truck in Toronto, but this person in front of me with the orange coveralls, long dark hair, and mirror aviator shades moves so lightly. As the truck periodically surges ahead, the collector leaps from the back of the truck, returning to the tailgate with cat-like precision, perfect timing, swinging a leg, one arm comfortably looped in a large metal hand grip, one shoe perched solidly on the running board, occasionally facing backwards, then pirouetting to the other side of the truck, cool, smiling as I try to pass. But oncoming traffic is still too heavy. The collector does a half-step twist, pirouettes to the running board's other side with graceful ballet moves, flawlessly shifting with the economy of motion, elegant physical equilibrium. I'm thinking cross-cultural identities, surrealism, and representational derationalization. As I'm focusing on those rhythmic movements, the radio catches my ear. Ella Fitzgerald is singing "Puttin' on the Ritz." Everything comes into focus. The garbage collector moves in harmony with the music. I still have the window up, so I know they can't hear, but the garbage ballet is in perfect sync with the radio tune, a terpsichore of trash. Let's all go where Rockefellers walk with sticks and umbrellas in white mitts. Aristocratic, swank, the collection of refuse becomes a fluid synth-pop jive ballet. The music fits in white mitts, putting on the Ritz. I laugh. The garbage collector notices. I'm thinking fiction, friction, invisibility pop, representation la-la, Fred Astaire, spats and cane, top hats and tails along the avenue. An elegant dismount followed by 2 heavy orange bags pitched on board without breaking tempo. I'm thinking millennium anxiety, posh top tap dance, post-romantic transcendence, transhuman rubbish sublime. The collector's feet hover above the ground. Are those white sweat socks, or do I see little white wings at the ankles? A grin and mug targeted straight at me, posturing, swinging to the other side of the truck. Eyes peering over mirrored aviator shades, watching for a reaction, maybe seeking applause. A Hermes of refuse sending me an inscrutable message. I realize that the collector knows how talented they are. Hamming mercurial. I smile as the truck finally pulls over and stops for a colony of garbage cans. I wheel by and give a small wave. One of the collector's white mitts waves back. It has taken forever. The collector dumps a garbage can of loose confetti into the hopper. A flurry of paper bits fills the air. As I pull past, a gentle snow has begun to fall. It is winter. I am 8 months late for my job interview. That's it.